Hey guys, it's OD here with a new Demon Hunter guide. In this one, I will be talking about some survival tips for high grade rifts. I get this question asked a lot: how does one survive with such low toughness? Well, it's pretty simple. First of all, you have to, because at a certain point when you reach a high enough level, everything starts to one-shot you. There are several things that you can do in order to have a better chance at surviving. Some gear choices, some skill choices, and mostly situational awareness. By this I mean knowing the mobs you're fighting and how to manually avoid their attacks and strategically placing yourself so chances of getting hit are close to nil. This particular video will be mostly a generic survival guide. For in-depth ones, I'd suggest you check my follow-up videos in which I will cover bosses and mobs specifically as detailed as I can. Those videos are also not currently set in stone. Depending on the interest that this one will generate, I will consider doing them or not. So that part is up to you guys. Anyways, let's get started. The first thing you want to do is reduce the visual screen clutter. By this I mean reducing the visual effects so you can have a clearer picture of what's going on and actually be able to see the enemy projectiles coming your way that you need to avoid. Considering the amount of rockets and whatnot that are constantly being shot out of yourself and your sentries as well, it tends to get hard at times. For this you have two settings which I consider extremely important. First, the damage numbers. Yeah, they're nice for seeing big numbers, but that's about it. Disable them. Second, set your GFX to as low as possible, including the low effects option. No need to mess with textures and whatnot, only what affects the visual clutter, not detail. This will reduce the number of particle effects being displayed for each spell. Moving on to the gear then, the several immunity amulets. I have to mention here however that if you want to push for the top ranks, you'll have to drop this as an option, because the Hellfire one will provide you with more damage. Basically getting to the top requires you to play at max risk all the time and be extremely lucky with what you'll have to deal with. The only reason I'm using one on seasons is because I haven't been able to craft a decent Hellfire one yet. Out of all the amulets I'd rate from best to worst, it's the Cameos, which is Arcane, Maras for Poison, Xephirian, Lightning, Talisman of Arnok, which is Cold, and the Star of Askaranth, Fire. This is taking into consideration both the elite affixes as well as the Rift Guardian abilities. Jailer is the most annoying ability in the game, and it's arcane, especially in combination with something like Teleport or Fast. Most of the time it can be outranged by keeping the mobs at the edge of the screen and constantly retreating when needed. Poison damage comes second due to how many Rift Guardians do that kind of damage, which is 5 of them by the way: Erathon, the Binder, the Blighter, Voracity, and the Choker. It's a nice boost to have considering you'll be able to do max DPS on them without having to worry about surviving. When it comes to skill selection, there's not that much to talk about. It's simply Volt versus Smokescreen. Both have their ups and downs, such as Volt offering more mobility, the ability to spam it, easier to get out of sticky situations due to the area you can cover in a small amount of time, and lower discipline cost, while Smokescreen on the other hand will allow you to prevent taking damage in certain situations. It's all relative though and comes down to what favors your gameplay style more. They've both been used to achieve top ranks, so picking the right one is up to you. Awareness as a passive is also extremely important. Some people tend to forget that. I mean, it's a free get out of jail card every 1 minute until the cooldown resets. This can save you up a lot of rest time, considering every time you die in a greater rift, your revive timer goes up by 5 seconds up to 30 seconds total. Try to play a bit more reckless while it's not on cooldown to pull more mobs and get more progress, and more careful when it is on cooldown. Another thing I'd like to mention here is stutter stepping. This is a more advanced technique, but it allows you to avoid more damage than you normally would otherwise, since you're basically almost always on the move. It involves the combination of force move and force stand still. It's not beginner friendly though. However, the most important thing that you can do to survive is be aware of your surroundings. The mobs or Rift Guardian you're fighting, the affixes they have. Simple things such as maidens from Act 5, they spawn skeletal archers, so you should watch out for incoming arrows all the time when fighting this mob. Or, this is a winged assassin, he's gonna jump me, so better stay focused and hit Volt or Smokescreen every time he'll do that. Same with the Rift Guardians really. Knowing their abilities and how their animations relate to them can save your life every single time, or almost. Such as having the Rakanoth boss, Cold Perdition inside Greater Rifts, and him charging you when one-shotting you. Every time he crosses his blades upwards, that means a charge is coming, so you have a split second to Volt or Smokescreen and survive. And so on and so forth. If you're a new player, this might all be overwhelming to you, but paying attention to what each mob does and the animation linked to it will help you in the long run. Generally speaking, this is where the skill comes into play in relation to Diablo. situational awareness, knowledge, reaction time, the ability to adapt, and perseverance. Being able to sustain as high DPS as possible while also surviving thanks to the aforementioned things in different situations. Anyway, I'll leave you with some gameplay now. Please keep in mind this is Seasons and I barely had any playtime on it, plus the premature season end kinda put me off, so lacking a few key items such as the Hellfire Amulet, a good weapon, and some stat rolls on some items such as resource cost reduction on my quiver. However, it's still a pretty decent Greater Rift 48 to showcase the things I mentioned earlier. And again, depending on the feedback of this video, I might create in-depth ones regarding most dangerous mobs and guardians and how to handle each and one of them. Don't forget to like and share guys, it helps a lot. Until next time, enjoy!